Welcome to Broadcasting Buffalo. I'm your host, Elizabeth Carey, and tonight we are celebrating one of Buffalo's most exciting events. It's Dyngus Day. Thousands come out to celebrate Dyngus Day every year, but you may be surprised where the holiday originated. Thomas Saracki has more.
If you're from Western New York, you may be familiar with our famous celebration of Dyngus Day. What you may not be familiar with is its vast history stretching all the way back to the 900s.
Dyngus Day is an annual Polish-American celebration that takes place every year on the Monday after Easter. Festivities include traditional food, dancing, and a parade. Martin Biniaz is one of the founders of the Dyngus Day Parade in Buffalo.
You're never going to find a celebration like this anywhere in the United States or anywhere in the world, in fact. It's something to be proud of. It's something to tell everybody, friends and family from out of town, that this is the place to be for Easter.
Dyngus Day shares similarities with other holidays that revolve around the Christian calendar.
Well, the history of Dyngus Day goes way, way back, almost if you think about pagan Europe. And when Christianity started to make its way into Europe, a lot of Christian communities sort of adapted and took pagan holidays and sort of put their own Christian stamp on top of them.
Though Dyngus Day has been around for many years, the large festivities that we know of are fairly recent.
And it wasn't until the early 1960s that Dyngus Day, as we know it today, with the polka music and the traditional foods and the big civic celebration, really took place.
At one point, it seemed as if the Dyngus Day celebration was disappearing from Western New York. However, Biniaz and his cousin Eddie Dobashevitz were determined to prevent this from happening.
One of the ways of sort of bringing the focus back on the East Side was creating a parade. And the original idea for the parade was for it to be sort of a media stunt. It's where the cameras could focus at 5 o'clock.
The parade has been the centerpiece of the Dyngus Day festivities ever since it has been founded and is continuing to go strong.
This marks the 15th anniversary of the founding of the Dyngus Day Parade. There was 1 year off, 2020, for the pandemic. Last year, the Dyngus Day Parade was more of a motorcade, but it still was officially a parade and still celebrated on the East Side.
For more information on the celebration, check out our website at broadcastingbuffalo.com. I'm Thomas Saracki in Buffalo. Happy Dyngus Day.
Thanks, Tom. When we return, we'll talk more about the time-honored traditions of Dyngus Day with some very special guests. We'll be right back.
No matter who you are
or where you're from,
you are welcome here.
Tú eres bienvenido.
مرحبا, أهلا وسهلا.
You are welcome here.
You are welcome here.
Hello, Buffalo. I'm Ed Asner. You may remember me as television's no-nonsense news director Lou Grant. And if you think about it, journalists provide us with our first draft of history. Right here in Buffalo, more than 50 years of TV news coverage is being brought back to life. Local stations are working with the Buffalo Broadcasters Association to bring back the stories that helped define the Niagara frontier.
The Pheasant Lane neighborhood, where drifts reach to the rooftops.
It's called the Archive Project, and I support it with all my heart. So should you.
Welcome back to Broadcasting Buffalo. I'm your host, Elizabeth Carey, and tonight we are talking about Dyngus Day and what it means to Western New York. I'm joined by three special guests: Bernadette Pollock Pasola, a co-founder of Buffalo's Dyngus Day Parade; Pierogi Pete Zlatkowski of Simply Pierogi, and Deborah Anders Silverman, who is chair of the communications department at Buffalo State College and who wrote her doctoral dissertation about Polish American folklore. So I'm so excited to be here. I have to say, my mother's maiden name is Rhoda Matowski, so I'm qualified to host the program, and we all have our red on because that's part of the Dingus Day celebrations, of course, to wear red. So I guess the number one question, you're holding pussy willows, and we hear about pussy willows and spraying water. Like, how does all of this tie into Dingus Day?
This goes back hundreds and hundreds of years, probably to ancient times. And I did some research on this when I was working on my master's thesis in folklore as well as my doctoral dissertation. And I've been able to trace it back to the ancient Romans. They had a feast of the Lupercalia where the young men would chase the young women around with strips of goat skin, and it was to ensure fertility. Now, this was in the springtime. It was actually February 15th, but I think that could have been a precursor of Dingus Day. But you can go and trace it through Central Europe beyond that to, not just Poland, but Hungary, Czechoslovakia, Germany, and you'll find this water dousing and the whipping. And again, it's a rite of spring. You can say it's water as a sign of rebirth, renewal. The whipping, probably a fertility rite, and that's kind of where it went. And of course, today it's kind of evolved into the pussy willows and being there, but also the squirt guns. So that's, instead of the buckets of water, we have now this newer version of the custom.
That is amazing that things could carry on for that long and people carry on that tradition and still look forward to it every year.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I think there are probably a lot of people who are not Polish American who are enjoying it as well. But certainly in the older communities here in the Western New York area, up until about 1960, you would see some of this happening in the communities. Later than that, you weren't seeing it so much in the communities, although there was one gentleman I interviewed down in Dunkirk who did observe it, and I just happen to have his picture here. His name was Chet Tarnowski. He was a county legislator down there, and he would go into the businesses in Dunkirk with the pussy willow branch. And these, by the way, are from that tree, which he gave me, and so there they are. And that was a custom that was observed down there until he died, and he died about 10 years ago.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So that tradition is being carried on, too.
Yeah.
And Bernadette, you are one of the founders of the Dingus Day Parade, so how did you become involved in all of that?
Well, actually, my late husband was really initially involved. He was the Central Terminal president at the time, and a couple years after the parade started, he passed away, sadly, and I said, could I take over charge of the parade in his memory, which I did for approximately 10 years. And that was a very, very exciting experience because I got to see the parade grow from initially about 20 little ragtag groups to, the last time I did it, we had about 135 entries.
Wow.
So it was great.
Well, also, I've been to the Dingus Day Parade, which is fun. Sometimes I miss it if we're still in Florida because we try to go to Florida for Easter. However, since, of course, Dingus Day is the day after Easter, I have caught a butter lamb at the parade before, and it's like a highlight, one of my bragging rights.
Yes. Well, and over the years, we've seen different things being, butter lambs tossed to the crowds. One year, someone was throwing rye breads into the crowds, or Polish sausage, or the General Mills people would generally bring little boxes of cereal, and the upstate milk people would bring little cartons of milk. So you could have a feast while you were watching the
You
parade.
really could. And out-of-towners come for this parade because the people next to us were from, I believe, Pittsburgh, and they were like, what is that? It's a butter lamb? And I'm like, yeah. And I said, well, you can have it. And they're like, you're giving it to us? And I'm like, well, I do have one at home. So, they were visiting from out of town. I let them have it, and they were thrilled.
Oh, and it was really awesome when I would be there coordinating the parade, checking in, assignments of floats and things. People would be coming to me going, we're here from Cleveland, we're here from, Pittsburgh, or from San Diego, and where can we stay? What should we do? So then you give them give them the brochure, give them a little dissertation of what to expect. And it was slowly becoming a destination, which was the original intent, make it the opposite of Mardi Gras. Before Lent, you go to New Orleans. After Lent, you go to Buffalo.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
A little bookend.
And Pierogi Pete, you work with Simply Pierogi, so
Yes.
you're ready to feed all the people that come into town as well.
Absolutely. So, like Bernadette was just saying, Lent starts the, fasting, Punchki Day is, usually when you're clearing out your house of all the butter and lard and jellies and everything. And then the day after is when you can let loose again. You've done your 40 days fast. You've, held off from what you wanted to have, and this is the day where you can have pierogies, Polish sausage, punchkis, krushiki, anything that you want to put into your body because you've been clean for the past 40 days. And it's funny too, for our Dingus Day at our place, we had a Polish master chef I invited in from town from Nashville who runs 9 different restaurants, who actually grew up in the same hometown 1 block away from my owner. And we had him here for this Dingus Day, and he said it was the most exquisite thing he has ever seen. As a matter of fact, we were just off camera. He was texting me for 50 cases of pierogi to bring to Nashville. So
Wow, I love it.
he said this made such an impression on him and his wife, who are from Poland, and they have never seen anything like it. So they thought it was absolutely wonderful. And Buffalo really knows how to put on a good Dingus Day.
Oh, they sure do. And so you have Simply Pierogi, Stolat, and E.M. Krushiki. Well, now it's just
Krushiki Bakery.
Right.
Yeah, Anya has those. We have the main hub over in Lancaster, where we have all of our bakery personnel cranking out the sweets, and then the old Eastern Hills Mall of Sears is where we put in the new 3 establishments about 1.5 years, 2 years ago, and then she has some other places opening up later this year as well. She's slowly taking over the world.
And did you see that, Deb, in your research, how the food plays a role into these traditions
Oh my gosh,
as well?
yes, for sure. Yeah, I spent an entire chapter in the book that I wrote on the foods and
nice.
Broadway Market. Back in the day when Wolf Tomback was there, and of course Anya and I might have interviewed her too, because I remember interviewing her. So yeah. Definitely.
Yeah, so I know that it's a tradition to have a lot of those specialties on the table. And of course, they're available all year round if you want to go visit Simply Pierogi or Stolat Bar anytime.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Is this something that you expected, Bernadette, to see so many people catch on and see these traditions carry on, not just Dingus Day, but throughout the year?
I do think that one of the main goals was to be an all-inclusive event. So that's what started the whole thing with the parade, was to not just make it for the Polish people, but to show that the Polish people have something just as good as St. Patrick's Day, or just as good as Mardi Gras. So they wanted to be all inclusive, and the parade was always open to everyone. You didn't have to be Polish; you could be anything, and as long as you showed your Polish pride.
Right.
You had to show some pussy willows. You had to wear red and white, things like that. And slowly, people became exposed to it and really loved it. The initial Dingus Day event at the Central Terminal, I remember not knowing what to expect. And we opened the doors, the little parade was going on, we opened the doors, and I was left to be greeting the people at the terminal. And I remember students from the University of Buffalo coming in of all ethnicities and going, what is this? What are we doing? I don't know how they found out about it. They came and they stayed. And they stayed and they learned, and next year they brought their friends. Then they came to volunteer. So it was just such a wonderful thing to expose what we grew up with to the world.
Incredible, and quite a party there. So when we return, we're going to talk more about Dingus Day in Western New York and what it means to the local community. Stay tuned.
Believe, inspire, achieve. These 3 simple words capture the progression of each student's journey at the college.
Believe. Education works best when powered by confidence and a positive attitude. When students believe in themselves, great things can happen.
Inspire. Active learning among a peer group of engaged and community-minded leaders inspires great thinking and doing.
Achieve. On a very practical level, each student finds the support and resources at Buffalo State to achieve their goals. Achievements continue on through our more than 100,000 alumni throughout the world.
No matter the occasion, Premier Gourmet is here for you. Featuring Buffalo's best craft beer selection, grocery store items, coffee, and gifts. Find locally made Buffalo products and everything you need for your home bar. Visit premiergourmet.com.
Experience Buffalo and Erie County's unique stories with the new Buffalo History Museum podcast. Connect with Western New York's history as you listen to detailed narratives about heritage, architecture, business, innovation, and significant events and people throughout time. The podcast takes inspiration from the museum's collection and beyond, from experts on staff and featured guests. From the 1918 influenza to F. Scott Fitzgerald, experience the stories that make up our region. The Buffalo History Museum podcast.
Welcome back. The Monday after Easter has always been a popular day to honor Polish heritage at Dyngus Day celebrations right here in Buffalo. Gracelyn Reif went out to cover this year's Dyngus Day festivities.
We are here today at Buffalo's Dyngus Day celebration. Find out what traditions and fun take place at the Dyngus Day capital of the world.
It's something to look forward to. Friends are here, and it's a chance to have fun.
For many people, the Dyngus Day parade is where the celebration begins.
It's a unique holiday. You get a lot of different people participating, especially when you see the parades. You see a lot of different floats, and some of it doesn't always make a lot of sense, and I think that's a lot of the fun of it. But yeah, you got a butter lamb float, and you got squirt guns, and you got pussy willows, and you just got everything going on. So it's just a lot of fun to participate, and it's something that I'll come to for my entire life.
The Polish heritage dancers are a key feature in the parade as they make their way to the Polish cadets to dance.
Getting people that aren't usually part of the Polish community kind of engaged in being, in what it means to be Polish. I mean, there's a lot of merrymaking and, drinking, but it's also nice to see people, wearing the red and white and just being proud of, being Polish on Dyngus Day.
I talked with Michelle, who told me her experience in the group and how excited she is to be back after 2 years.
I love all the people, meeting new people, being with all our beautiful dancers, and sharing in this beautiful tradition.
Buffalo prides itself on being the Dyngus Day capital of the world, and people from all over come to celebrate.
Are you kidding me? Dyngus Day is my favorite holiday of the entire year. I look forward to coming here. I'm so sad it wasn't happening for 2 years in a row.
It doesn't matter if you're from Chicago or Poland. You gotta come to Buffalo, New York to celebrate Dyngus Day.
We asked people out celebrating what Dyngus Day means to them.
It's Polish pride. It's something that the Polish like to, it's a chance to step forward, to be proud of your heritage. And you can do it right here in Buffalo.
The party, the celebration, look around us. There's plenty of people around. It's a great experience.
Live music, food and drinks, squirt guns and pussy willows, laughter and fun surrounded the streets. For some, it means even more this year because of what is happening in Ukraine.
The Polish people and how wonderful they are. And if you look at the things that are going on right now in this time and age, how they're opening up their borders and welcoming all those people. It's the same thing here. We invite everybody.
Spreading cheer and fun is what makes Dyngus Day here such a special celebration in Buffalo. There really is no festival like it. For Broadcasting Buffalo, I'm Gracelyn Reif.
Thanks, Gracelyn. I'm here with Bernadette Pollock-Pasola, Deborah Anders Silverman, and Pierogi Pete Zlatkowski. I knew I would get stuck on that one to talk all things Dyngus Day. So, Pete Zlatkowski, Pierogi Pete, you must like pierogies if you have that nickname, right?
Yeah, I do like pierogies, but it was really an idea born from Anya, my owner, to do it for National Pierogi Day in October. And to put it in terms that would be clear for you guys, you would think I am a Beatle walking around town right now, John or Paul McCartney, because I have never seen grown adults fawn over something so ridiculous in my entire life. I show up to events and parties, and it's just pictures being taken and people wanting to put it on Instagram. I was just at Penn State for the past few days selling pierogies there and walking around as a pierogi. I'll go to the Bills games. I went to Rick Jenneret's last game. People love it, and it's a great marketing scheme that Anya has come up with to get a brand out there, and to
So how busy was, Simply Pierogi stole up our Krashiki Bakery on Dyngus Day?
Yeah, we sold about 1,000 pre-sale tickets. We had a couple hundred walk-ups for the day. We had an accordion player during the day. We had a Polish polka band from Maryland come in and play. We had a Polish DJ spinning some Polish tunes, kind of like a techno thing. Food and drink specials all day. We were giving away lots of tchotchkes, if you will, and pussy willows. Kept the squirt guns to a minimum because inside would get a little squirrely and slippery. But people had a great time. It was good getting back to normal, whereas the past few years it was really low-key and off the grid, where this was getting people back into the swing of things.
Yeah, great to see people together again. And Bernadette, when you decided to work on the parade, did you ever think that it would become as popular as it has?
I did not in the beginning. The very first time I ever was kind of put in charge, they said, well, line up in the Corpus Christi parking lot. We had 2 vehicles, and it took up the whole parking lot. I go, there's going to be an issue here because I think we're going to have a lot more interest. So that over the years, that's why we started kind of having to take over the side streets, because we would line up 3 whole streets full of people that were interested. It started becoming a year-long event where people would email me in October, when can I start putting my application in for the parade? I go, you have 6 months. No, I gotta do it now. So it just blossomed so great. I was so thrilled to see so many people interested.
That's awesome, and it's nice to see them showing the, like we said earlier, the Polish pride and wearing the red T-shirts.
Definitely,
and more.
and giving little awards for the best display of Polish pride, the best use of red and white, best use of pussy willows. It was always so much fun to see the creativity.
Sure. And Deb, like we see this Polish heritage and people showing their Polish pride. How did all that tie into Dingus Day to bring Dingus Day what it is now?
It actually, the Dingus Day excitement here in Buffalo came about in the 1960s, about the time that these community whippings kind of ended. And I interviewed Ann Michael, who was one of the founders of the Chopin Singing Society's Dingus Day Party, and they started theirs in 1962. And she and the co-founders wanted to bring back this excitement that they felt in the community, so they started the party, and it caught on. And the Polish foods and the dancing and the political figures would come to the party and they'd speak, and they had all of that there. They blessed the foods. So then after that, that's kind of when all these parties took off after that time. So they all tied in.
Oh, it's so nice. And we see the parade, but we do see the community centers are bustling with activity. The restaurants are busy now, so we see it spilling over to other venues too.
Yeah, for sure.
What do you think, Pete? Do we need like a Dingus Day 2 in the fall so we can bring this back instead of just once a year?
It's funny. We really should. Just to, they have a countdown for St. Patrick's Day, and there's a half-year countdown where they do a toast and say, hey, half a year. We should think about that. But Burdett was right. We started planning our party about 2.5, maybe 3 months out from this year, and I was surprised all the bands that we called had been booked a year in advance. So we have already started planning our party for next year, when we are just 358 days away from it, because I want to get the bands locked in, the sponsorships. We had vendors people were making actual, Polish T-shirts right in front of you. Polish drinking team, Dingus Day drinking team, that kind of stuff, where people were like, we want to come back next year, lock us in right now, because it was big where we were, and I'm sure it was downtown too. I've been down to the one at the Central Terminal. I'm a little outside of that age group nowadays. I'm an indoor cat per se, so Eastern Hills is where I would go, and it's already in the works for next year.
Great. And Bernadette, do you see the parade getting even bigger, or is there like a certain level that you had as a goal for yourself?
Well, I'm not involved in it anymore, but I do see that there's always room for more growth. I mean, I can't put a finger on how many is too many. I guess there could come a time where it'll be hard to manipulate it, but at one time we had a group came from New Zealand. There's a Pussy Willow group in New Zealand who sent representatives here. So the word is getting out, and I think at some point maybe it will be the opposite of Mardi Gras. Maybe it will be the destination for everybody to go to is Buffalo, New York. Wouldn't that be awesome?
That would be awesome. Bring them in. We want more international visitors and more.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
Well, we'll be right back. Don't go away. We'll have some final thoughts after these messages as we're talking Dingus Day.
No matter the occasion, the Premier Group is here for you. Take advantage of our easy online ordering and curbside pickup, or shop the finest selection of unique wines, spirits, and gifts at any of our 3 independently owned Western New York locations.
Your life has taught you a lot. Now your experience can help change a child's life. Read to Succeed and AARP Experience Corps are looking for local volunteers, 50 and older, to help children in Buffalo City schools learn to read. You'll receive training to help you be a great tutor. You have what it takes to change a young person's life. The experience may even change your own. Volunteer by going to readtosucceedbuffalo.org.
We're back on Broadcasting Buffalo. I'm Elizabeth Carey, and let's hear some final thoughts about Dingus Day in Western New York. So Pierogi Pete is here, and during the commercial break, you mentioned something that we want to clarify. Buffalo's the Dingus Day capital of the world, not Cleveland, right?
I would 100% say, in America, it would probably be Buffalo. Poland, I would imagine, is going to be Dingus Day capital of the world. But Cleveland, on their online presence for social media and Instagram claims, quote unquote title of being Dingus Day capital of the world. I've been to Cleveland a few times. They don't have nearly the passion that we do, I think, and I might have to go there next year and set them straight with my Pierogi Pete costume and show them how we do it.
Right. Pierogi Pete takes on Cleveland.
Yes, 100% so.
And Deb, do you think it's important for people to continue to celebrate Dingus Day and to have these traditions in Western New York?
Absolutely. It's an expression of our ethnic identity. If you think about all of the identities each of us has, right? Like I'm a college professor, but I'm also Polish American. And so this is a point of pride. And so, yes, to express that and to carry it on to the next generation. And I'm teaching my son how to make Polish coffee cakes, right? So that's kind of where we are with it. Absolutely.
Yeah. And do you think, Bernadette, it's important to celebrate Dingus Day too, for people to have that special day for their heritage?
Of course, because even though we are still probably the capital of the world for Dingus Day, Poland does it, but not like we do it. And this is my first year. I have a 6-month-old grandson, and believe me, he wore his little red shirt, and I was talking to him about Dingus Day on Dingus Day. So yes, it's something that I think we need to keep celebrating, to tell other people about it, and also to tell our children and grandchildren, and just keep carrying on the traditions.
Yeah, very, very important. And Pete, if people missed Dingus Day this year and they're watching the program thinking, wait a minute, I can't wait till next Easter, they can always visit Stolat Bar or Krashiki Bakery or Simply Pierogi and enjoy some Polish food throughout the year.
Absolutely. We're located at 4475 Transit Road, right in the old Sears of Eastern Hills Mall. We have Gołąbkis, we have pierogi, placek, all your baked goods, all of your comfort foods. Stop in anytime. Pierogi Pete's always there. Anya's always there. We'd love to have everybody. And like I said, we're already planning for Dingus Day 2023, and I believe that falls on April 10th next year. So mark your calendars for a good time.
Okay, be ready for that Polish party. And if people wanted to read your book, Deb, is that available?
Yes, it is. The University of Illinois Press. This is it right here. And so, yes, absolutely. It's still available.
Awesome. Very good. So you do your research and you'll realize why people are celebrating Dingus Day when the party kicks off on April 10th next year. I really appreciate all of you coming on the program to share all the history and the insights and all of your knowledge about Dingus Day. I think a lot of people would learn a lot in today's program, not realizing everything that leads up to Dingus Day and the hundreds of years, as you mentioned, of the history.
Absolutely.
Okay, great. Any closing remarks from anybody?
Nostrovia.
Stolat. We'll drink to that. So again, we're talking Dingus Day on this edition. Thank you again for joining us. We really appreciate it. And if you'd like to learn more, you can always go to our website. It's broadcastingbuffalo.com, and there'll be more information there. And you can find that right at broadcastingbuffalo.com. Again, thanks for joining us, and have a great night. And as you said, Nostrovia and Stolat.